You're listening to the broadcast on the Focalizer Network, the only show that covers all your favorite fandoms, with your host, Justin Thomas.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast on the Focalizer Podcast Network. I am your host, Justin Thomas. With me is my producer, Joanna, and our good friend, favorite YouTube reactor, Broke Black Man, the only YouTube reactor I react to. This is kind of our pilot episode. We have started the Focalizer Network, and I recommend you go to focalizershow.com. If you're a blogger, a YouTuber, a podcaster, or all of the above, go and check it out. We are building a little bit of a family of like-minded people. So the broadcast, as always, we're going to try to cover a vast area of topics, but we're going to be focusing today on and this is a working title, Life for Life, a little game we've thought of. This is going to be the Game of Thrones edition, and it's going to be where we pick 3 of our favorites that are still alive, 3 of our favorites that are dead, and we're going to do pros and cons, weigh the options here, and we're going to have to choose a life for a life. So we're going to have to pick 1 out of our 3 alive and 1 out of our 3 dead to swap and talk about all the butterfly effects and consequences and what it would do, and we'll even do a selfish choice if we have a chance. So we'll go right into it. How is everybody doing today? BPM, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing great. So far, no debt collector has paid. So far, my bills are paid. As long as no one calls complaining about that I owe them money, it's been a great day.
That's good. You're slowly becoming fiscally responsible black man instead of broke black man. As I mentioned, Joanna, our lovely producer, is with us, but she is currently doing some producer-esque work, I assume. So she will be joining us in a second. But we do have a little bit of news that we're going to do. BBM's going to give me a little bit of a help with this. Like I said, we're going to be trying out some things, and what I want is comments about what you guys like, what you don't like. We're not trying to be your regular review show. I already have 9 people that I watch after Game of Thrones and Westworld and stuff like that, that do just straight reviews, that do a great job. And I'm not saying I don't think I'm capable of doing a great job. We're not looking to jump into that game. We're looking to keep you guys updated on just shows that are in hiatus and little bits of news when it pops up. But we're looking at more of the big picture, and we want to have a conversation that you guys enjoy listening to, but also that'll let you guys have a conversation. If you guys are not familiar with BBM, Broke Black Man, his information will be in the info box below. He is a great reactor. What are some of the shows that you are doing right now? I know Vampire Diaries is coming to a close. That's why he's squeezing us in. He's squeezing Focalizer in because he's that good of a guy. But The Walking Dead, obviously, Game of Thrones. But you do some pretty cool stuff that some other reactors don't do. You wanna plug yourself when we're waiting on that producer of ours?
Sure. Yeah, besides the shows that Justin just mentioned, I also do this new Marvel TV show that's on the FX network called Legion. Yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's kind of like the new Westworld of shows right now, where it leaves you with like a cliffhanger or so much WTF questions like, okay, what's happening here? Should I tune in for next week? And you know what? You do. So far, me and over 2 to almost 3K viewers are like, okay, what's going on? We're always theorizing every episode. But other than that, there's Supernatural, 12 seasons, still good as hell. And hey, they already got renewed for a 13th season, Might as well just renew it for another
13.
Yes, that's how you know it's good.
What happened to 7 seasons and done? Wow, it's nuts now. I heard about Legion, though. I've yet to watch it. What I'm gathering, we have another unreliable narrator situation. So that's what I'm assuming is the big connection with Westworld. People are kind of grouping them together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We truly don't know. Should we trust our protagonist, whose name is David? Good? Is he bad? Is he trolling us all like what, a certain character on Westworld did, aka Maeve, cough, cough. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know why I stray from the television comic book stuff, but I am guilty of it. But that's why we have great people like you on BBM to, help us through my weak spots there. But yeah, no, I heard visually it's great, and people are loving it. They're loving it. A lot of people that are pretty hard on these shows generally have came out and gave it. Comic Book Girl 19 gave it her stamp of approval, and she did that laughing. But whether she thinks that's funny or not. Oh, no, it said it's good, because she usually shits on anything that's X-Men, all sarcastically, like, oh, my stamp of approval. But she knows it means something. So, and a few others came out. But a few things I wanted to talk about. First off, Westworld news. If you didn't know, I run the Westworld Amino, my lovely producer and curator and soon-to-be fellow leader. Once we boot back up for next season and we bring in another curator. Hear that, Joanna? See, your mic's off, but you're getting promotion. You don't even know it. We run the Amino over there, and it's kind of been slow for news for them, but there has been some stuff popping up, and I'm going to keep you guys updated since I'm pretty heavy into that community. So Jimmy Simpson plays William. He teased possible return of William in a future season and potentially said there could be 6 to 7 seasons. I do want to mention that this was during a GQ fashion interview, but they do have the broad strokes for this. They need at least 5 seasons to actually tell the story correctly. They don't let the actors know. The only actor that got scripts ahead of time, and he got a few, was Jeffrey Wright, who played Bernard. I think he got like 4 or 5 scripts ahead of time, because he did have to know his twist, because he had to act certain scenes with, he had to physically act different because he was human in some and a host in others. But he was the only one on set that was privy to that information. The rest of the actors, including Evan Rachel Wood, Ed Harris, I think they don't mention Hopkins, but they don't say he knew anything more. They would get not only sometimes just the script for that day, sometimes they would literally get a scene, and they're not going to pull Jimmy Simpson aside. I'm sure they trust him and all that, but it's just, they're not going to say, hey, William comes back, in season 3, so don't worry, wink, wink. So I'm assuming his contract has something in it that leads him to believe it's worth kind of fueling the fire. It's smart for him. He's a great actor, but he's played a lot of weird roles, ones that I've loved. If you've watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the McPoyles, he's played some real weird, odd people. So in this, this was, for this great actor, he played a romantic role until the end, but he was seen in a different light. So no matter if he's working or not, which he is, he's still going to probably want to revisit this role, because this kind of, in my opinion, was his breakthrough. I don't look at it as a bad thing that he'd be kind of stoking the fire a little bit, getting the fans to talk about if he's coming back or not, and maybe put some pressure on him, one way or the other. So take it as you will. It's not gospel. In the next thing that we all know about Batflick. Ben Affleck was all gung-ho for Batman, and he has some odd quotes about a year ago about how they already had a script that they were doing, and it was wonderful, because it was always, I will direct the standalone Batman film, which is supposedly going to be called The Batman, as long as the script's good. And he said he had been writing the script, and they have something good going. It was even compared to that, I believe it's a Korean movie, The Raid, probably wrong, but it's a foreign film. And this is what I was hearing a year ago, and it was kind of like going to be Arkham was going to be the jail that the raid would be happening on, but it would be Batman going through like all the different levels of Arkham, and he'd be going through all the rogue gallery and stuff like that, all the people he had locked up. So that sounded cool, like a cool idea, because he'd put a little bit of dialogue behind it, because that was a really cool action film that was like really just like all these badass stunt actors rushing into this building, to this prison, and conducting a raid, and it was just nonstop action. So he was comparing it to that and whatnot, and said he had something in the works. So then he's had a few movies since Batman vs. Superman, which obviously critically was just shunned. And I mean, I'm not going to act like I liked it. I didn't hate it, but yeah, it wasn't that great. You liked it, BBM?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
People.
You should call Ben Affleck.
Yeah, tell him that whatever he did was great.
Hey, listen here, Ben. I thought that was swell. Live by Night or Suicide. I mean, Suicide Squad. Yeah, I guess he was technically in it, but I mean, I'm surprised that was even him for that one scene. Unless there's shit we didn't see. But anyways, he's had a few. Ben Affleck, this is my take on it. He did Argo, and, he directed that. I believe it was either won or was nominated for an Academy Award. And before that, I mean, yeah, he was a good actor, but I mean, at least in my opinion, he wasn't that respected up until about 6-7 years ago. He started picking up steam, and people started being like, okay, he's actually a smart guy. He did a few more projects, and he's doing pretty good. And not only just as an actor, but he's proved himself as a creative mind, a director, an artist, and then you got Matt Damon doing The Great Wall, so kind of role reversal there. Haven't seen it, but gonna go ahead and assume it's terrible. Anyways, so then he does Batman vs Superman. Nobody liked it except for my buddy here, and things start to go downhill for him. He did Live by Night, which is a gangster film that just came out not long ago. It did not do well. It's 35% Rotten Tomatoes. So probably a little bit of workload with the Justice League and stuff. But then it kind of came back and he said, well, we haven't even started on the Batman film because we don't have a script and I'm not going to rush it. And it's like, well, what the hell happened to your rating, all this other shit, blah, blah, blah. So kind of backstepped a little bit. And now we're hearing that he doesn't want to be Batman and he wants out of his contract and said he wouldn't direct unless they had a good script. So then they got a script and now he's not directing. So what does that tell you about the script? None of this looks good for DC. Very few things look good for DC except for Wonder Woman, which evidently isn't testing well, but whatever. So he wants out. We all know that. I guess the contract would extend that he would have to do the Justice League and then probably the standalone. And I don't know if he's obligated to do anything after that, but I was talking to BBM about this, and they just announced that they're doing Nightwing, which is very exciting, even for a casual comic reader like myself, because for years I've heard very great writers and great producers, directors, and people that are involved in this fandom talking about how they want to do a Nightwing movie just because that character is so fleshed out, and there's a lot you could do with him. So it kind of has come out of nowhere that Chris McKay did the Lego Batman movie. He directed it, which a lot of people are saying, I did not see it yet, but a lot of people are saying it's more true to the Batman's origins than the recent movies, which is pretty funny. Kind of makes sense though. But he's going to be doing a Nightwing movie.
Kids movie, Kids movies are always 100% accurate,
Are you being sarcastic?
I don't know. I haven't seen the film, so.
Yeah. I think they just want to shit all over the new Batman series. So we hear Nightwing is coming out, and they're not quite the Marvel. Well, they're not the Marvel universe in many ways, but I don't really know. I don't see phases of movies I can tell you what Marvel's got coming out until I'm 50, but I didn't know about any Nightwing being in production. So this is what I'm thinking. Instead of potentially, let's say Ben does his movies and he backs out, that's pretty devastating for this already DC universe that's in shambles. So it would, first off, Nightwing, great movie for the DC universe if they do it right. If Ben leaves, instead of having the reboot of Batman have to be rebooted after really only one film that's his own, because the rest have been Justice League, Suicide Squad, and Batman vs Superman, he would leave. So that'd be kind of tough from the start of this reboot, since we've gotten away from the Christian Bale Batman. It's been an older version. They made sure to say it, to show it, and maybe it'll make sense that they're holding it as a kind of a safety net to have Nightwing in the picture, because instead of recasting Batman, maybe they should kill him if this were to happen. This is worst case scenario. Nightwing takes the mantle in the comics. Dick Grayson is more fleshed out of a storyline. It's very similar to Batman's. He's a very charismatic character. And, you know, I mean, it's Dick Grayson. He was Robin, then he put some pants on, and then he took them off to bang some broads. I mean, he's a cool guy. He deals with struggles of insecurity and stuff, of not being as good as Batman. And I mean, he's actually very interesting. So I see them making a calculated move, one of the first ones they've made so far. What are your thoughts? Is this a wild theory of mine that's just bullshit out of my mouth, or does this make sense to you, BBM?
Actually, that would make perfect sense if they're gonna do the let's go kill Batman, you know,